Alright, everybody. Hello. Welcome. My name is Azriel, and this is a bike review. We're just gonna get straight to the point, honestly. I'm not that much of a talker, and I can't say that I'm gonna be the best at this, but I'm gonna go over some things I like about this bike, some things I don't like about this bike. So, first of all, this is a 2022 700 clx Sport. Very long name. It's a pretty fun bike. It's a sport. It's a sport naked. It's a it's kind of really like a cafe racer. But let me get down to business. I have, let's see how much miles I have. I've put 8,561 miles on this bike. And is it a good bike? Well, yeah, yes and no. It's a good bike. If you're looking for something that is similar to the MT-07, but you don't want to spend as much money, get this. I got this for $64 out the door, and they have gone down in price even further, and I gotta say, it is worth it. It is so worth it for the price. But listen, it is good for a great beginner bike because you're gonna learn a lot from this bike. You're also going to have to fix some things. You're gonna have to learn to ride a certain way and stuff like that. So let me get completely started on the specs. So this is a 700cc. To be specific, it is a 693cc engine. It is a inline 2, as you can see there. Super torquey bike, so fun. I'm not entirely sure how much it puts down on torque. I think the MT-07 has just a little bit more, but it's pushing about 74 horsepower. And honestly, that, like, you don't need any more than that, especially for a beginner bike. I mean, I've had this bike for almost a year now, and I can't say that it did not treat me wrong, but it definitely treated me decent. So, biggest thing, I gotta throw out the cons first. Now, don't let me lose you on the cons, because there's a lot of really good pros to this bike. So, first off, some cons. First con, the gear indicator is dog. It's so bad that I don't know if it's just on this specific model of the CF Moto or anything like that, but let me sum it down for you. See, when you have your bike started, you have the gear indicator right there, and it's good for the first week or so. And then after that, you're gonna start noticing that it's not showing the right gear. Like, you'll be in 6th, and sometimes it'll say you're in 1st or 3rd or something like that. It is not entirely correct, unfortunately. And that's not, like, some people might say that that's not entirely a bad thing, but it is, because this bike actually has cruise control. Now, cruise control is nice, right? But see, the cruise control is directly tied into the gear indicator. And if the gear indicator isn't working and that you're in 6th and you're trying to cruise, it will switch back and forth between 6th and 1st. Meaning the cruise control will disengage, re-engage, disengage, re-engage, so it just doesn't work. So, one thing I will say is this bike needs some work on the electronics. Just on the cruise control and the gear indicator part, I've already had the gear indicator replaced once, and it's still bad. But bear in mind that this bike has been wrecked, not by me, but one of my buddies. So the bike has been wrecked. So that's why the bike is kind of bad right now. But see, I'll show you guys what a death wobble can cause. We got a dent right there. We got a broken thing right there. My mirrors are gone. Indicator is not entirely in. My grip is also not really on, kind of hanging in there. Scrapes everywhere. There's scrapes on the bottom. You can see that on the peg, on the seat. So there is damage, and my particular bike actually has a bent fork. So that wheel is supposed to be facing straight towards me right now, and it is not, because that fork right there is bent. So enough of this chit chat, this jitter jatter, whatever, blah blah blah. What are all the other cons? Other cons? Not really anything. Honestly, this is a great bike for the price. 74 horsepower. I can push it up to 130 miles per hour. Super fun. I'm a heavy guy. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5". I weigh 265 pounds. I can push this thing up to 130 like nothing. It carries my weight really well. And now my buddy, he is smaller. He's about 5'8". He can get this thing up to 100 freaking like 32, 34, like lickety split, super fast. So it is a really fast bike. It's really nice. Let's see, what is another con? Another con is aftermarket parts. So you're gonna have a really tough time finding parts for this bike, unless you go to AliExpress, but then you're also looking at parts that aren't really that good. My exhaust was actually from AliExpress, the whole entire thing. Now, how much do you think it costs? Put it in the comment section right now. How much do you think it costs? You got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. What was your guess? What, 300, 400, 700 maybe? 800? It was carbon fiber, so maybe 900. Well, wrong. I spent $100 on the cat and the muffler combined. And I can't say it doesn't sound bad. I'll put in a clip right here of me revving the bike and the idle. It is really nice sounding. I always get compliments on how good the bike looks and how freaking loud it is. Honestly, there's not really any other cons on this bike. It is a great beginner bike. It is perfect. It is so nice. It is anything you would need for a beginner bike. You don't need anything else, really. It looks great. It's fantastic looking. It is so sexy. Such a nice bike. And I'm in love with it. I love this bike. If I wasn't going off to the military, I'd keep this bike forever. But due to it being in a recent wreck, the stoppers on the frame are actually shaved off completely. So I'm actually going to total the bike out right before I am about to go to the military, and then I'll be set. But pros, everything. Comfortable seat. I don't get fatigue or exhausted after long rides. I can ride this bike all day. It has lasted me multiple trips to Sedona, down to freaking Chandler, everything like that. Like it is perfect, really. And just look at the bike. Look at it. It looks so nice. So it is a CF Moto, so it is relatively new. So you gotta bear in mind that there is not that many mechanics for it. So learn to work on it yourself is what I recommend personally. I'm debating on getting the CBR 650R or the 675 SS for my next bike. I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna go with it. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go for the Honda just because, I mean, CF Moto is really nice, but it needs to have more experienced riders behind it, and it needs to have a couple more years under its belt before I decide to go back to it. Maybe I'll get that V4, I'm not entirely sure, but it is a nice bike. I highly recommend it. If you don't want to spend a couple thousand more on an MT-07 and you have 6,400 or even less. They're worth less now. Honestly, go for it. It is perfect for a beginner bike. It has lasted me all year. I haven't had any issues with it other than that personal reasons for, like, I am not really that good or that responsible of a rider. I actually blew the engine once already on this bike, and now don't see that as a red flag. See, I was riding it like a maniac. I rode it 130 miles per hour everywhere I was going, and you're not supposed to do that, especially on a cafe racer. They're not built for that. So I was doing that for months, like 6 months straight, and it blew the engine. The engine couldn't handle it. It blew. Had to get one side of the block replaced, and then I had to restart. So now on this engine, I have about 3,000 miles, and this is my daily driver. I daily this bike. That's crazy to say, but I daily it. It is my daily, and it is perfect for it. I cannot express enough how great this bike is, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it to anyone that is looking for a beginner bike that is naked, that is a little bit up there. It's not okay, listen, the power isn't super bad. Yes, there's a lot of torque. Yes, it's going to be a little scary right at the beginning, but keep that baby in eco mode. It has eco mode and sport mode. Keep it in eco mode until you feel comfortable to switch it over to sport mode. I kept it in eco mode all the way up until I was out of the break-in period. Once I was out of the break-in period, I switched straight over to sport mode. Holy, it is a huge difference. But anyway, do I recommend this bike? Yes. Do I recommend it to people that want to stunt? No. I can barely get wheelies up. I can do it in first gear, but other than that, not really. And I can't do any wheelies right now because the fork is bent and I don't want to land back the wrong way, get a death wobble, and fly off the bike. But yeah, this was Azriel with my 700 CLX Sport. Do I recommend it? Yes, it's a great bike. Should you go and get it now? Yes, you should. Do you want to hear it? Yes, we can hear it. All right. So let me make sure the bike is in neutral. There we go. Let's start this bad boy up. Like I said, super nice sounding. Like, you can't go wrong with an inline 2. It doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't. Maybe if you get a good exhaust on a MT-07, you could probably best this. But man, I don't know. Out of here before I get kicked out. Yeah, everybody have a good rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a little bit of informative. I'm gonna get some pictures and then I'm gonna skedaddle, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Later.